Freelance writing is the OG of remote work. You work on your own schedule, you work whenever you want to, you work from wherever you want to, on the beach or from the comfort of your home. You don't require a specialized degree to get started. You just need the willingness to learn freelance writing skills for building a sustainable business. You are an independent business owner, you're self employed, you work for yourself, and you work with one or multiple clients. Ideally, you love each of them, though it takes some time to get there. You have your own writing tools or software that you pay for, and you love what you do. You're just building a lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle business, that you love. So, let's get started with looking at the nitty-gritty of freelance writing today. First question: what kind of work does freelance writing involve? Well, as it's freelance writing, you will majorly be writing content for companies' blogs or their newsletters or their website or their other marketing material, maybe even on social media or some other offline platforms, which is rare, but it's still possible that you do it. You work with one or multiple clients, and besides writing, you can also be editing. But lately, there's a huge demand even for updating of content, for content strategy, for SEO and related things, which are also related to freelance writing. And that's why many freelance writers also work as content strategists or SEOs on a freelance basis. Whom do you write for? Well, typically it used to be magazines who were interested in writers. But today, content marketing has become a huge industry. Businesses need writers for their websites, for their blogs, for their social media platforms. So you can be writing for large enterprises or, like those huge companies. Or you can even be writing for solopreneurs, for digital creators, for YouTubers, for podcasters, and even small business owners. How does a freelance engagement look like? Well, assuming that you've prospected and landed a freelance writing client successfully, here's how it begins. The first step is you decide on the number of pieces that you will do in a month, the number of content pieces, and the rate that they will pay you for it. You sign a contract with them. The next step is them sending you the content style guide and any content brief that they have with instructions on what you need to follow while writing. They may ask you to send your own topics on the basis of your understanding of their audience and their publication, or you may get some topics from them. Either ways, the next step is you sending them possibly an outline and getting an approval from their content manager or the editor, and then beginning to write. Then you send back the piece, they'll give you some feedback, you will work on it, there might be a couple of rounds of such exchanges, and finally they will publish it. The last step is you getting paid. So you bill them. Typically, it's in 28 to 30 days. It's a calendar month. It could also be 14 or 15 days depending on your agreement with the client initially. And once you send them the invoice with the details of the articles that you've written in the period of creating that invoice, you will get paid for it. So how do you set your rates? Well, this is one of the most common questions in freelance writing, and it's one of the most trickiest, especially when you're starting out. I recommend you to charge per word or per project. Both of these are common in the content marketing industry. I personally use a mixture of these. I charge per project for a retainer for every month with a company, and then if the number of words exceed or the number of articles exceed our initial planned project, then I charge them more on the basis of the number of extra words that I have written. So I really recommend that you charge per project, because you are kind of delivering an outcome for a client and you want to get paid for it rather than the number of hours that you're putting in. I'm strongly against getting paid per hour. So per hour, if you go down that route, then your client might try to micromanage you. They might benchmark or compare one of your articles against the another. Why XYZ article took more time than ABC article? And it's just not a fun conversation. Ultimately, businesses care about results, and you as a freelancer should also care about delivering results. So I recommend you to charge per word. It's the easiest to get started. And if you're up for it, then maybe charge per project. Well, I've still not answered the question, how much to charge? So You can benchmark your rates against industry standard reports. So there's one report by Peak Freelance that you can look at on how much freelance writers are charging. You can also explore successful freelance writers' websites and benchmark their experience and their skill set against yours to just get started. But if all of this sounds too complex, then you can just use this as a framework. You should get paid 5 cents to 10 cents per word at the beginning. If you're getting paid any less, then probably you can change your niche, or you can approach better kinds of businesses who will be willing to pay you these rates, because these rates are not uncommon at the beginning of your freelance writing career. The fifth important question: how big is the freelance writing market? Well, you may be wondering if this is just a fad, if freelance writing is just something temporary that's just come out of the pandemic, or just with the remote working trend. But let me tell you this, freelance writing has been around for over a decade. I know freelance writers who have been making 6 figures in yearly income or even upwards for years now. And with the advent of content marketing, which is itself growing at 15% year on year, and it's projected to be over $400 billion by 2026, there's a huge demand for writers. Content marketing requires a lot of content writing. You can write for podcasts, YouTube scripts, you can write blogs for websites, business websites, for different kinds of small businesses, and there's overall a huge demand in the industry. It's not going anywhere, and freelance writer will be at the center of this. So it is not a fad, it's going to grow. Indeed, content marketing opened up a lot of avenues for writers. I now know writers who can get paid $150 to $200 per hour or even upwards for their writing, which was really uncommon maybe like 5 to 8 years ago when I started freelance writing. A lot of businesses can derive a lot of value from content marketing, and that is why they are willing to pay top dollar to freelance writers. And you can be the one who can benefit from it if you start your freelance writing career today. Okay, so what are the types of freelance writing? Well, I have discussed this subject in great detail in another video that you can check out here, but let me quickly cover the different types broadly. The first one is content writing and freelance blogging. In this, you will write content for different platforms for a business. Maybe you will blog for a business website. It will be published on their business website on a blog. It could be a B2B business, B2C business. It can be different kinds of websites. You will write informational or entertaining content and you will get paid for it. The second is website and landing page copywriting. Here you will be writing the copy for a website, maybe their about page, maybe their home page, maybe their product's feature page, or a landing page for some other specific marketing purpose. The next one is SEO writing. You basically optimize your content to rank in search engines. You write on specific subjects of interest for a business, and once it starts ranking, the business starts getting more relevant traffic on their website through your writing. Email copywriting. This kind of writing typically involves creating autoresponder sequences for onboarding the new customers of a product, or it could involve converting a prospective lead into a warm lead or even a customer for a SaaS business. Or you could even be writing for a marketing campaign. We are trying to persuade a prospect to become a customer. You can also be writing email newsletters personalized for their subscribers, or writing copy for a branded newsletter that goes out every week or every month, depending on the frequency that a business has set out. Most freelance writers may not start with this specialized skill set, but they may graduate into it after they have learned the ropes from other kinds of writing. Ghostwriting. Here you lose the credits for your work. The articles that you write appear under someone else's name. Typically, it's the CEO or the CMO or some other established person at the company. Magazine writing. Well, this is the most old school, and this is where kind of freelance writing began. You write for magazines and you get paid for them. Your articles can appear in print. Typically, they appear in print, but it can also be online because there are a lot of magazines that also publish online. How to get started with freelance writing? Well, that could be $1 million question for you. If you're serious about freelance writing, I have created a dedicated tutorial that you can check out right here. And let me briefly tell you how you can get started. Personally, I started with writing internships. I worked on sports websites as a blogger, on technology blogs, and my articles actually received even hundreds of thousands of views there. But they didn't really pay me very well. They just laid a good foundation to get into more professional gigs. I've experimented with content marketplaces. I've even applied for jobs and gotten rejected, then converted them into freelance writing gigs. So there are multiple ways, and if you have the time and you want to really explore content marketing in depth, then I recommend going for a content marketing internship. You will find many content marketing internships from SaaS brands, from big companies, and they can teach you the nuances of content marketing and freelance writing for an online audience in about 3 months. And that could really be a solid foundation for you to get started with more professional freelance writing gigs. The great part is you will even have a network that you can then leverage to get some initial freelance writing gigs if you start out as an intern. If you are a hobbyist that just wants to test the water with a few gigs here and there, you can consider content mills or marketplaces like Upwork or like iWriter. I personally went there and did like a lot of gigs in my first month when I wanted to do it professionally. But I won't recommend you to waste a lot of time. They'll pay you peanuts, and it's not really the best use of your time. It's just good to get started and just experience how it's working with clients. So just use content mills and marketplaces if you want to test the waters and don't feel quite ready to make the bigger move. But if you are serious about freelance writing and if you want to take it for the long haul, the pro way to do it is to choose one or two writing niches. Start focusing your efforts in building a portfolio that you're proud of. You can even take pro bono work with an NGO, with a local business, with any business by your friend or anybody in your network who is in those niches. And you get a testimonial in exchange for them. So you start working with them, you approach them, you tell them, hey, I can help you with XYZ. And then you start building your portfolio. You start building out your first few writing samples in that direction. You can also start prospecting job boards or look out for gigs on social media platforms. Ultimately, you will need to have some relevant writing samples in your portfolio to land any respectable gig, because any person who's willing to pay you well will need to know that you can do a decent job, and your portfolio is the way to prove the same. So that's all about freelance writing. It's really a great career for people who want to build a business around their lifestyles, who want to just earn some income on the side, who want to just experience creative entrepreneurship. Freelance writing can provide a great platform to even springboard into different directions. You can grow it into a content marketing or even broader digital marketing career, or you can even start your own blog or company or your own community. If I have left out any questions about freelance writing that you want me to address, then let me know about them in the comments box below, and I'll be happy to help.